bring me back to my reversion. Unite the clans, I give thanks to each person. It's that same holy water that we immerse in. It's that same tradition that we all each versed in. United we stand and divided they win. They ignited in their plans and divided they sin. If you think about it and see us all for the same lands, their biggest fear is that we all remain friends. I got love for T Marsh and y'all podcast. I got love for Michael Matt fans. Ryan Grant, Rick, Barron, T Flanders, Eric Sammons. Shout out to my boy John Arrington. Avoid Babylon. I got love for Anthony and Rob. Speak on. If you tried, you're persecuted. The same for the weak heart. Our roots go way back before the Genesis, the Greek ark, sweetheart. Yeah, this a mass to the ages. Shout out to Bishop Athanasius, Father Dave Nix, Red Pill, we out the Matrix. Haters.
Yeah. I don't like when you put me on first.
Better? Happy now?
Yeah, I like when you come on first. I don't like when my big face is on the screen alone.
That will edit it.
Dude, this freaking Joe Boca. Is
he hasn't been on our show for...
Dude, it's like, I get
and it's funny because we still have these with his name
right like here. His name is on our channel, and this bum just flat leaves us for Kennedy Hall. Would you?
I understand. I mean,
yeah, I'd probably leave you for Kennedy.
Yeah,
to be like to be Kennedy's partner, right? Kennedy's got.
It wouldn't even be a question.
Yeah, Kennedy's got 20,000 subs. We're like over here. We haven't even hit 1,000 yet. This is terrible. What do we got? We got a lot of people in here. So Don didn't show up at mass this morning. So if I don't see him at confession, he's saying he wasn't feeling well. Okay, I absolve you of your sin.
He knew you were going to be there. That would make me pretty sick too.
I sat in the front today, so I wasn't sure if I just didn't catch him, and but I also didn't notice any mustaches this week. So maybe I don't know if that's because I shamed everybody into shaving. Like that's possible. It's possible I shamed everyone into shaving. Let's see. So Rob,
we like it like this. No, we don't like it like that.
What is that? What is he getting at?
I don't know what he.
I don't even know what he means by that. So anyway, yeah, we were like, we've been meaning to talk about this for over a week. So I lied in the title, guys. I didn't lie. I misspoke because it wasn't the Shia interview itself.
Look here.
Oh, Joe
shows up in our comments.
The bum.
Oh, this is why Joe ditched us. That makes sense. I go to Novus Ordo and you go to Diocesan.
Okay. Yeah, Joe's a quarter schismatic. So I mean, listen, I don't know.
Is that more or less than he is Italian?
Joe thinks he's a big shot now because he's on with Kennedy. He's not a big shot. I mean, he's making me chauffeur him to Ohio. He literally called me and he goes, Aunt, I'm a little too important to drive. You have to drive. That's what he said to me.
He did just see what happened to you last week, right?
Wait, I don't even know what. With the crash?
Your accident.
With the accident. Not for nothing. Kennedy has only been on our show once.
That's true.
I think the two of them think they're too good for us now. Yeah.
They're having me slave to do their audio editing for their podcast.
We got a quarter skizzy Kennedy and a half Sede Joe. Joe loves to flirt with Sede Vacantism. Joe likes to poke the bear. That's what it is. Joe likes to poke the bear.
Yes, he does.
He likes to rile people up. He's not, I wouldn't say he's a troll. Like I don't think that's the proper term for Joe. He likes to poke the bear, though. He likes to get a reaction out of people.
Some of the tweets are a little trollish. Those are the best ones, though.
Yeah, I mean, with the cry room.
Between the cry room and Trevor's pew sitting. Those were the two best all week.
I'll tell you right now, my wife yelled at my two daughters this morning because they put their butts on the pew this morning. We got our mass on the ride home. My wife just lost it on my two daughters. What's up, Anthony? Do you go to the TLM at St. Matthew's? Yes, I do, Tom. Only on the 1st and 3rd. If you go to that
wondering
mass,
how often he has to shave his mustache.
Tom, if you see me there, come and say hello. I will be there next Sunday. So we do 1st and 3rd on at St. Matthew's, and we do 2nd, 4th, and sometimes if there's a 5th Sunday at St. Rocco's. Yeah, Tom, if you see me, come and say hello, man. I'm way more approachable than that big shot Joe Boca, that's for sure. Who thinks he's too good for us now? He won't even come. I actually texted him and I'm like, Joe, you want to come on? He goes, nah. You guys don't even have 1,000 subs yet. I'm not coming on that channel. I love the St. Matthew's traditional mass. I love Father Hughes. Father Hughes is one of the best homilists I've ever heard. So Joe's been approached 3 times. He's a big shot. Look, see, he gets recognized is what he's saying. He's famous, is what he's saying. He's famous. He's famous. Me too, Tom. So yeah, next time you see me, I will be there Sunday. Come and say hello. So the point of the show, I didn't lie in the title. I misspoke because it wasn't the Shia interview that Bishop Barron deleted the traditional mass comments from. It was the Shia review show he did. So he did a review show where he spoke about that, and what else did he speak about? There was one of the Lex Friedman interview. So he spoke about, he did like a recap show of those two, and he deleted. Oh, I have to send you the things he deleted on WhatsApp, so we could actually,
so we can view them.
Yeah, so I'll post those up. I'm sending these to Rob now. So I have a let's see this. Yeah, okay. So somebody who listens to our show actually sent me a DM, and they said, hey, if you go and check the Bishop Barron review show, he's deleting all the messages, like all the comments that have to do with the traditional mass. So he does this review show, and he doesn't even mention the elephant in the room, which is that Shia is talking about the beauty of the traditional mass. So he did this review show, and I had to watch it after the listener sent me that. And he talks about Bob Dylan, and he talks about Shia a little bit, and he never once mentions anything about the traditional mass. And it's like, for us, that was such a huge part of the interview, right?
You know what I just realized? The whole Bob Dylan kick he seems to be on, it might be him trying to get in good with his new Minnesotan diocese. Because Bob Dylan's from Minnesota.
He's from Minnesota?
Yeah, well, up northern Minnesota. He's Bishop Barron's in southern Minnesota, but who knows?
Yeah, he talked about
because I can't imagine anyone actually likes Bob Dylan that much.
So but so is what's her name? The politicians from Minnesota. What's her name? From the
There's lots of
no.
You mean
the
the
Somalian one. What's the name? We can't even remember.
I should know this.
You think so? What's her name? She married her brother. You guys know who we're talking about.
But it's not Rashida Tlaib, because she's from Michigan. It's Ilhan Omar.
Ilhan Omar. There you go.
Her father is a Somali war criminal, and she married her brother.
You're giving me a lot of crap about living in New York, but I saw a fun little story. About
the largest pandemic fraud.
Yeah, COVID fraud. So they took money that was supposed to go to like little children or something, and they stole it was I think 8 people robbed 250 million. So if you think about that, that's like they got a decent chunk of change each. No, it was 7 people, right? 7 people,
something like that.
That means they took like 20 million each, something more than that, like 30 million.
And
each.
What's kind of surprising is those groups have been running similar scams for years, where they set up fake child care centers to get funds from the state, and then they just disappear. So I don't know how they weren't prepared for it, but that's Minnesota for you.
Barron is known to delete comments to avoid controversy. Yeah, so he Jordan, you're not too late.
Here, I'll start popping some of them up here.
All right, so Rob, I just sent Rob the comments that I know for sure he deleted, because we took screenshots of them before he deleted them. These comments. So now, what the thing is, these aren't crazy comments. They're not obnoxious. They're not in any way. These are the most respectful comments that you can, I mean, so this guy says, Javier says, I'm 22 and a devout Catholic. 99% of my friends who are converts or reverts to the faith became open to Catholicism in large part by the awesome aesthetic beauty and powerful contemplative moments in the traditional liturgies. I would argue, in opposition to much of the online rhetoric, that this is not primarily a TLM versus Novus Ordo issue for most of the youth. This is just a grassroots movement of young faithful Catholics just wanting reverent liturgy in line with our 2,000-year-old tradition. We are tired of trends and just want lasting beauty that connects us with larger tradition that helps us live in the theodrama, the drama of God, not the ego drama. This moment is right in line with Bishop Barron's thinking. I and all my young Catholic friends are deeply obedient to the magisterium, but for what it's worth, I would plead with the leaders of the church to listen to us. We desire authentic Catholic tradition for its spiritual depth, evangelistic power, and for its ancient beauty. Guitar masses just aren't working. So let's start with that one. I don't even go to the other one, Rob. Like, could you have picked a more respectful comment?
No, I mean, probably not.
Is that not
about as
like you could not get more respectful from like this young guy is 22 years old and he's like, look, this isn't about the online rhetoric. Like
he's even saying it's not even about the TLM, just
or the Novus Ordo
guitar masses.
Yeah, it doesn't mean we have to knock the Novus Ordo. It's not about it. Look, Rob is 2.5 hours away from a traditional mass, right? It's 2 hours. Yeah. 2 hours. I mean, that means if you want to go to the traditional mass, you're spending your whole day in the car.
Well, and the mass is at 1 p.m. So you leave about 10 a.m. and you get home maybe, if that's all you do, you get home 4 or 5 p.m. So
yeah, that's insane. Like that's a lot to ask, right? So
you're with going, 2 toddlers, especially.
Yeah, you're going to a Novus Ordo most of the time, right? Like it's a special event for you to go to the traditional mass. So don't anybody think that we're saying the Novus Ordo is like that's not the point. It's like the point is this really is a movement amongst young people, right? It's not about look, like Jason was having an issue with somebody online who kept calling the Novus Ordo the bogus Ordo. And so Tom says it's a great comment. It said the Bishop Barron is afraid to buck over. So I don't even know. It's like, yeah, definitely, right? Because Barron's kind of a company man. So when Benedict was Pope, Barron, I think if Benedict was Pope, Barron would be rah TLM. But because of Traditionis Custodes, I don't think he's willing to go there, right?
Seems that way. I mean, it's hard to know what the reasoning is behind it, and of course, it's not Bishop Barron doing it. It's, whoever is in charge of the social media at Word on Fire.
It's probably Brandon Vaught. It's probably Brandon Vaught, right? So he's pretty much in charge. But he's not going to do something like that without...
No, right. It's clearly policy.
It's coming from somewhere, right? He's not going to make that decision on his own. But like those are respectful comments. I mean, there was nothing. Look, the next one is the same thing. These aren't obnoxious bashing Novus Ordo comments. It's like people just don't seem to understand. Look, Connor's in the chat right now, right? Now, Connor and I were speaking in
Connor McHugh from
Pop. Yeah. So Connor and I were speaking, and I told him I wasn't a trad Catholic. And he goes, "Yes, you are." I said, "No, dude, I'm not like a trad. Like I don't." And he goes, "Yes, you are, Anthony." I'm like, "So, all right. So, what would you define as a trad?" He said, "Anybody," and I agree with this. Like Connor's got a very good grasp on what this is. He goes, "Anybody that loves the traditional liturgy, whether they can attend it or not, right? Whether they can attend it or not, and sees that there's an issue going on with what they're trying to do in the church today, right? So it's like you, okay, so you're only able to attend the traditional liturgy when you are, but you still prefer it. Probably. I'm a frad Catholic.
That all depends on how October 7th goes.
We're gonna find out. Yeah, I may be anti-frad after after that weekend. Yeah, Tom, I feel the same way. Like I don't buy into a lot of the. I'm not negative, man. Like I don't like to go around and pointing out every negative aspect of the Novus Ordo at all. Like I don't. I don't really care. Like I want to have, part of the reason we do this is because we want to show like that it's still fun to be Catholic. Like we're supposed to be joyful through this whole thing. And it's supposed to be fun, right? Like, and you're supposed to have like fraternity with fellow Catholics, not human fraternity, Catholic fraternity though.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're supposed to have this Catholic fraternity where you have a brotherhood amongst each other. So look, yeah, I'm a traditional Catholic that can't attend the TLM, too far for us to travel. Right. So Connor made a really good point when he said that. He goes, look, you love the traditional liturgy. You love the traditional faith. He said, you just think you have a different temperament than a lot of the trads out there. So I would say I'm not a rad trad.
Right.
You know, but I'm definitely a traditional Catholic. I'm a faithful Catholic. I believe every teaching the church has ever taught.
I mean, the way I would describe it is anyone who wants to do what they can to live a Catholic life the way our forefathers did would be seen as a traditional Catholic by the wider Catholic world. But at the same time, from, like you said, from the rad trad, so-called, I would probably not be seen as traditional because I attended Novus Ordo 80% of the time.
Yeah.
But
so what would be the difference in a trad and a conservative Catholic?
I would say a conservative Catholic holds to, I would
they
say
still
they're
believe the Orthodox faith.
Yeah, right. They're Orthodox when it comes to doctrine and dogma, but I would say when it comes to the practice of the faith, it's much more that 1960, 1970.
So you're talking George Weigel. George Weigel would be a conservative Catholic. Like that, like those guys, the JP2 Catholics.
Yeah, Weigel though is, his whole argument for
Weigel's a neocon. That's his problem.
Right. That exactly, saying that we were justified in nuking Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But anyways,
yeah. So Weigel, like, you'll never hear me call the Novus Ordo the bogus Ordo. Like I just won't. It's stupid. Like I prefer the traditional mass, but I'll still go to a Novus Ordo, right? It's like it's still the mass, and it's sorry about that, Rob. So I think the majority of us do see ourselves that way. It's like, of course, we prefer tradition, not because we're like anti Novus Ordo. It's like we just see the beauty of tradition, so we want to restore it as much as possible. So I guess that is what constitutes a traditional Catholic. So Don's 100% right. The trad label has a lot of baggage. So it's like I've seen guys come down on other guys for wearing shorts. It's like, dude, I wear shorts. Like,
it's 50 degrees out and I'm wearing them right now.
Yeah, it's not at mass, obviously, but no, I wear shorts. Like, I mean, I wear shorts. Like, I'm not wearing a suit in the summer. It's just not me, right? It's like,
nor will I probably wear one in the winter either, but.
Right, of course. Like, but even today, so like I hate wearing suits, bro. Like I make jokes like you'll never see me smoking a pipe or smoking a cigar and drinking bourbon.
I believe I have a photo of you smoking a pipe.
I do. Yeah, no, I've tried it. So but the point is like I don't like to LARP. So it's like I hate wearing a suit. So I will wear dress pants and a button down, but like, I don't like wearing a 3-piece suit to go to mass. Like I don't like wearing them to weddings. So like, I mean, it's not, believe me, if somebody likes wearing one, I always love seeing that. Max said in a life preserver because of our show the other night. When I popped on the stream.
Yeah.
I popped on the stream.
You were into construction stuff. Yeah.
Don says shorts are okay on the boat. I agree with that.
Isabella is wondering how cigars are trad. I wouldn't say cigars themselves are trad. I would just say the idea of
trying to restore a Chesterton-esque way of thinking, where it's like, no one has ever created something as beautiful as a cocktail, but as horrific as a drunk, right? So it's like everything in moderation. Right. So to have a cigar or to have a pipe in moderation is totally acceptable as a Catholic.
Things like tobacco, and I would say, and especially in cigar and pipe form, where it is literally just tobacco, you're not getting the chemicals from cigarettes, but things like that and drink can help promote what they call eutrapelia, which is recreation, right? It's, sitting in and having a drink with friends and talking, and
Yeah. So I had a
it
glass of
promotes
wine
that sort
today.
of stuff.
I had a glass of wine. Like, I'm not going to go refill this. I had a glass of wine before our stream. I'm not going to get drunk, but it was a glass of wine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. And as Catholics, we do recognize that, like, we're not pearl clutchers. Like we say, like, anything
We're not
in
Puritans.
moderation. And Puritans. So, like, anything in moderation is okay, right? It's as long as you don't abuse it and let things become, as long as things don't control you, then it's okay. So I have a few vices, right? So I smoke a vape. I mean, I've never hidden that from you guys. You guys see me sneaking it all the time whenever Rob puts me up on screen. That's an abuse. So that's an addiction, and that's something that controls me. So
once again, it's not the vape itself. If you were
it's the addiction to it
with friends, or hanging out every once in a while, that would be different.
That would be totally fine. But because I have an addiction to it, I threw my cigarettes out and I started using that. So that's, I just replaced one addiction with another. So that's where the problem comes in. So, all right. So let's pop up the next comment that was deleted. Okay, it's fairly clear the Novus Ordo has major problems from an aesthetic perspective that make it uncomfortable for many. We can't evangelize the youth with 1960s folk music. It's a mass that's frozen in fashion and lacks timeless beauty. It's a mass that served the sensibilities of those who directed its organization. When young men who aren't Catholic watch a Novus Ordo, it's very difficult to take it seriously. Sad to say, I have to be very selective when evangelizing to make sure I bring them to a diamond in the rough Novus Ordo mass that's not a total clown show filled with irreverence. That's amazing. That's an amazing comment, right? Because so it's like, if you find the unicorn Novus Ordo, like they can be like, especially like like the Ordinariate. It's not a Novus Ordo, the Ordinariate. Would it be considered a Novus Ordo?
No, it's a separate liturgical.
It's a separate thing, right? So
they use a different form of English even. So
yeah, like the King's English, but it's not about Latin, right? It's really not about Latin. It's about like the whole way it's presented. So there are ways to go to a beautiful Novus Ordo. They're just so rare that we call them the unicorn.
I mean, so you've heard how the first mass I took Hope to, she fell in love with, and she was a Protestant at that point. And it was a Easter Vigil mass at the Cathedral of St. Paul, which is one of the largest, most beautiful cathedrals in the United States. And it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was a unicorn Novus Ordo. It was done versus popular.
Just reverently.
But it was beautiful, beautiful music. Largely, the music was largely Latin, enchanted, and the Easter Vigil Novus Ordo Mass is, still not nearly as nice as the TLM version, but
of course
it's closer than most Novus Ordo masses are. So I wonder what would have happened if the first mass I'd taken her to was at a parish that we lived nearby later, that had liturgical dancers, and guitars and drums. What would have happened then? I don't know.
You wouldn't have done that though, right? Like you knew better, or was that your first time returning to mass also?
Well, it was in the middle of the years I was away, so I didn't come back at that point. It was still years away from when I came back, but no, I knew. I guess I knew what mass to take her to.
Yeah. So listen, the both masses I go to are diocesan TLMs, right? So St. Rocco's on like Holy Days of Obligation. Sometimes I'll go to St. Rocco's. They'll have a Novus Ordo, but it's ad orientem, and they have the communion rail, right? So it's like there's definitely so everything beautiful about the Novus Ordo is because they're taking it from the traditional mass, right? And anything improvised is less beautiful. It's just how it seems to be, right? So
you can tell anything improvised feels like it's from 1970.
Yeah.
I mean, the sign of peace. Come on.
Yeah, it's like, dude, we start every one of our trivia shows off with a goofy goofy, nostalgic
Yep.
Novus Ordo song, right? It's like we poke fun at it, but at the same time, there are people who are coming to the faith through it. So I was like, we don't want to bash the mass itself. I don't know if I should. I don't know if I consider myself a trad based on some of the online rhetoric. You know, it's like to me, I think we have a major problem with virtue signaling in the trad movement at times, where people love to parade their good deeds, right? And it's like you have to not all. I don't want to, and I'm not trying to knock the trad movement. This is
even then. I don't find a problem so much with that, as long as then you don't turn around and say those that don't do that aren't Catholic.
Yeah,
you know, like I don't enjoy going to the Novus Ordo Mass.
You go out of a sense of obligation,
right? And I don't like the Novus Ordo Mass and think it, but those that go to it are Catholic.
Yeah, 100%.
You can't really say otherwise.
Tom's saying we froze on him. Is that everybody having that? Yes, brown churches are weird.
Yeah, they're terrible.
Yeah, church in the round. What a strange concept, right? What a strange concept. Is anybody else?
Hope and Don are saying we're good.
We're good? Okay.
Yep. Tom says it's back now for him too.
Okay. Yeah, so it's like, listen, this conversation has been had 8 million times, right?
Yeah.
I guess we're just trying
to it.
No, and I think we're trying to just distinguish ourselves because some people don't know like what we're about and like what our point of view is. But Don and I goof around a lot, like in private. It's like, dude, we're terrible trads, right? Like we're just terrible trads. It's like I'm in love with the traditional faith. I love the ancient tradition. I love it. I love the ancient liturgy. I guess
really all that does is make you Catholic.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. Like I can't wait until the time.
You know, the normie Catholics really are just modernist Catholics.
Modernist.
It's hard to explain. It's harder to explain that to someone than saying, "No, I'm a traditional Catholic."
Yeah,
but really, we're just Catholic, right?
Did you? Yeah, and I can't wait until we could lose these like labels, right? Like these.
I mean, there will always be some like Eastern Catholic and Byzantine Catholic, but
yeah, but that's understandable. That's understandable.
Right,
those are different rites, and those are different. Like, it's like I just can't wait until we're just Catholic again, and it's like I do think we'll get there one day. Did you catch the last half hour of Tim Gordon's video about the letter? All the so there was 4 bishops and a bunch of podcasters basically that signed the letter accusing Francis of heresy. Not I
read the article. There's a couple of articles online. No, Steve Cunningham posted one that John Arrington wrote. I read that one, but no, I haven't honestly watched a Tim Gordon video in 2 years.
All right, so Tim Gordon did a whole video on that, but then the last half hour, so I would say from like the 55-minute to the hour mark, the video is about an hour and a half long. If you want to just catch the last half hour of it, somebody asked him what he thought of the debate between Kassman and Brother Diamond. And Gordon goes off and he's just like, look, man, somebody like we have. All right, so Tim's a philosopher and he's like, we need somebody that's going to really lay out like how all of this makes sense, right? It's like, so if you look at the Diamond Kassman debate, what Diamond was doing was taking a whole bunch of things that were all right, so Sedes will take comments by saints and even comments by popes that are not definitive or infallible and make it like those are infallible sayings, right?
And a lot of times those comments are out of context and don't always necessarily support the position they claim.
Yeah, so it's like, so what Tim was saying is, look, we need somebody who knows ecclesiology so well and the magisterium so well that they could show us how all this makes sense in light of the last 10 years, right? In light of since Francis came, because
Mhm.
it looks like the church reversed its teaching on the death penalty. It looks like the church reversed its teaching on feminism. It looks like the church reversed its teaching on all these different things. And it's like, obviously that has to make sense somewhere, right? So it's like, that can't be, because if the church is infallible, and are these infallible teachings, or like what's going on here? And he said, I've seen some good things on Lofton's channel, and I've seen some good things on Catholic Answers. So then Lofton goes on and does a response video to it.
Did you see that?
So I watched the Lofton response video.
I did too.
Now the Lofton response video, I like Lofton. I do, but he comes off as condescending.
And the biggest problem I had with his review is he made it seem like Castman was arguing strictly from the Society of St. Peter position.
Yeah. St. Pius,
yeah. And Lofton used that to, I don't know, half the video was him concentrating on the SSPX's position, when I don't recall Castman actually really expounding on solely the SSPX's position.
No, I don't think so either. But
the general Catholic.
But Diamond kept throwing it in his face, right?
He did.
Diamond kept saying, "Do you agree with Archbishop Lefebvre's statement of blah 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 blah? Do you agree with Archbishop Lefebvre's statement of blah 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 blah?" So it's like, maybe Castman wasn't the best guy to debate him. Yeah, but also the scope of that debate was so wide. That debate, the scope of it was insane. It's
I think Lofton would be good because he does have that ecclesiology, that background in that. At the same time, I think Paleocrat would be good too, just because he cuts to, the heart of it, the what their worldview is, and I could just see him going I think Castman would have done better if he concentrated on
authority.
On authority, and also when he said, according to you, we've been 70 years without a pope. When does it end? When do you say
there's no end in sight?
This can't be. And it's not even so much it's been 70 years. The real question is, okay, we don't have a pope. How do you say we get one?
Yeah.
And he can't answer that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, all right. I mean, look, I think we're all in a confusing time, right?
Yes.
So I try not to even judge somebody that takes the Senate position. I try not to, because it's so messed up right now. We don't know. I try to see this in light of we've been here before. Maybe not in this all right, so it's like typologically speaking, the church of the first century, before the first century, before Christ comes, the Pharisees and Sadducees who are running the church, or running the people of God at that time, Israel, they're a mess, and Christ comes to show them where they're wrong, right? It's like it's like they didn't cease being the people of God just because they were like Jesus says, they sit on the seat of Moses, so do as they say, not as they do. I mean, it's just, maybe I'm not the best person to talk about this, but I just try to see this through typological lens, where it's like, if the church really, if you see the Pope as the prefigurement of the Pope as the high priest, and the Sadducees and Pharisees as a prefigurement of the cardinals and bishops, we've been in a mess like this before, and things were this messy, and they didn't cease to be the people of God just because things were messy.
Yeah, I mean, you had the Avignon papacy for, I forget how long that was, but anyways.
Yeah, so anyway, so Tim, so Lofton goes and does a rebuttal video to Tim. Now, the way he does things, it just comes off as condescending. I think Tim was being just honest, and he's like, look, when I see, he's like, I've heard a lot of good things from Lofton and Catholic Answers, but they come off as Pope-splainers to me. Now, Lofton doesn't see himself in that light. Now, the thing is, a Pope-splainer is somebody who tries to make it like Francis is not saying what he's saying.
No.
And Francis is saying what he's saying. So it's like, okay, yeah, you could weasel around this and say, technically, he didn't say this, but he means that. Right. So it's like, I mean, you could technically around all day, but he means that. Like, we obviously know, like, he's going for this stuff. So it's like, I know we don't talk about the hierarchy on this channel, but I mean, it's just such a big thing going on right now. It's like, what do we do about this? Like, I don't know, man. I think everybody's just very worried right now.
All I know is I won't be the one to figure it out or solve it. So I'm
Right.
just gonna stay in my lane.
Here's what Tom says. It's possible. Okay, it's possible, right? But who are we to, like Rob just said, I'm staying in my lane. Like, until somebody in a place of authority, that is my biggest thing with sedevacantism. It's like, who are you? Who are you to make this call? Like, you don't get to make that call. So we're all just going to, I mean, for me, I just try to be humble about it and say, look, I'm agnostic on all of it. I don't care. Whether that question of Francis is something that's going to be answered in our lifetime or not, like, that's not going to affect whether you become a saint or not. Right. Yeah. So like it's like, I'm not a no salvation outside the traditional mass guy either. It's like, I don't care what liturgy you're going to. If you become a saint, that's what's going to get you to heaven. Like, you're going to heaven based on whether you're a saint or not. Right? It's not about what liturgy you go to. It's not about whether Francis is Pope or not. I don't care. Like, that's not going to determine your eternal salvation.
And the Japanese were without the mass for 400 years, and they still produce saints. So
yeah.
Granted, I'm not saying.
Yeah, I would imagine it's insanely difficult without the mass, right? Yeah. It's insanely difficult. It's like, but the point is, our priest told us it's not up to us to play armchair cardinal. 100%. That's how I feel. It's like, who am I to sit here? That's why we have this rule that we don't talk about the hierarchy. Like, I'm not going to sit here and break down every little thing Francis said, and it's not my position to do that. I can recognize that all of us are in a very difficult situation right now, right? And all of us are struggling. So it's like, what can we do? We can, Blessed Carlo Acutis went to the Novus Ordo. It's like, what we have to do is, we have to just form community and help one another to be holy.
That's what we're trying to do here.
I mean, we're not very good at
more
it,
or less.
I hope you're not looking at us for. Hope you're not looking at us for road
22 of you are watching this right now. Why?
I figure someday after I'm dead, some smart theologian will come up with an explanation for how this doesn't disprove the church's claim. Yeah, look, that's a rough one, right? It's like, we say the church is infallible. We say, and someday it'll make sense. I don't know when. Like, whether some future pope says, okay, this pope was invalid, this pope was, who knows? But right now, what we have to focus on is, like, how do we become saints in this time? And part of that involves me not being angry with my wife when she annoys the crap out of me, and she's annoying the crap out of me today.
What did she do? Today?
You ever get
ask her to hang stuff up?
She's just on my nerves. Like, she's so on my nerves. Like we go through these phases where it's like, we'll be best friends, and like, we can't get enough of each other. Right now is not one of those times. It's just not. It's like, we're not fighting at all. We're just like, oh my God. So this morning at Mass, I'm saying, all right, God, all right, I can't control how I feel, but I can control how I react, right? Like, I can't control how I feel. Like, my feelings are going to be what they're going to be, but I can control how I react. So, just like, okay, like, you want to be annoyed and you want to, but just be patient, right? And today, that's the story of boys and girls.
That's the story of boys and girls.
Today, I really focused on the epistle today, man. It's like, Paul is praying for us. I think I posted it before, right? So today's epistle, Paul focuses on, let me see if I can pull that up.
I don't even know if it's the same one I heard today.
No, probably not. So this is Paul's prayer, that he may grant you from that he may grant you from his glorious riches to be strengthened with power through the Holy Spirit. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me start over. That he may grant you from his glorious riches to be strengthened with power through his Spirit unto the progress of the inner man, and to have Christ dwelling through faith in your hearts. Like, just that little line right there. It's like, that he may, through the riches of his glory, strengthen the inner man. Like, I need the inner man strengthened right now so I don't go upstairs and knock her head off her shoulders. Hope saying nice things about you. The executive producer is kind of cute.
I wonder what she wants.
So Tom said he went to a Nova Soda today's different read. Tom, you should go to St. Rocco's. I'm not sure where you live, but yeah, I do first and third at St. Matthew's, and then every other Sunday I go to St. Rocco's. St. Rocco's is in Glen Cove. St. Rocco's is a beautiful, beautiful liturgy.
Everyone give your congratulations.
Oh,
Steve Cunningham here.
Steve Cunningham had a baby baptized today. Steve, congratulations, man.
Congrats, man.
Seriously, congratulations. I asked Steve to come on the trivia show Wednesday, and he was taking his wife out for her last dinner before labor. So he said he couldn't make it on.
Steve, did you see some of his tweets about some of the COVID madness he had to deal with in the hospital?
Dude, my cousin went through the same thing. They couldn't see their baby for 10 days.
Ugh.
And the baby has severe separation anxiety. Like, a baby's supposed to be with its mother immediately.
Right away.
And to this day, they're on their third kid. The other two never had this issue. This last baby, like, if my cousin's wife puts the baby down, the baby loses it. It's like, I don't know, man. Max's 2 baptisms at his mass this morning. Yeah, so become a saint, right? Like, I guess what else is there? Isn't that somebody saying? I forget who. Don't flip out on your wife, guys. The first and foremost, don't flip out on your wife, even when you really want to.
Did we want to talk about Shia's interview on The Real Ones?
Oh, that's right. Oh, so Shia was all right. So everybody talks about the Barron interview, but Shia was also on. He did an interview with the guy from The Walking Dead. I forgot his name. You remember his name?
John Barenthal.
John Barenthal. I'm going to warn you guys now. If you go and watch this, it's very vulgar.
I would say I can't recommend it.
I can't recommend it because of how vulgar it is. But in the second hour, especially, he gets into really how he's living out the faith. So in Barron's interview, he talks about how he came to the faith. And in this one, he really gets into how he's living it out. I mean, he's now 500 something days clean and living out his faith. And Rob, you said you wanted to take back some of the things you said in our original show, right?
I wouldn't say I take back, because I don't think I said anything that was necessarily incorrect. I guess what I said, or at least what I meant in our original review of his Barron interview, was that a lot of what he said, and it could just be some of the words he used, like he kept talking about being activated. To me, that just seemed like activated emotionally, but I don't know acting. I don't know what he was really talking about, but it seemed to me like the way he described it in that interview, it made it seem like his conversion maybe was very emotionally based, right? He had just gone through something horrible. He had wanted to kill himself. He was working to get clean, and he gets this opportunity for a movie about Padre Pio. He has to go live with Franciscans, or Capuchins, which are Franciscans, but he has to go live with monks and nuns, and he has to learn how to say the TLM, of course, without actually being able to say it. But
yeah,
at
he's
least
not consecrating the Eucharist,
right,
but he's learning how to say the traditional Mass.
Right. So, it just seemed maybe like it was all very emotional. But in this interview with John Barenthal, he gets into it a lot more about what he was really going through in life prior to this, what his life was like, how he realized he had to change. And that was actually prior to learning anything about Catholicism, really. So, I could see that he was actually making these changes beforehand because he intellectually understood what he needed to do. And it really came full circle, or, it really made it seem like a much more well-rounded
Yeah, and it filled in
event in his life.
It filled in a lot of blank spaces that we probably got from the Barron interview, right? And then he also talked about like what he's doing now. So like every day at 6 p.m., he's having an accountability meeting. So I'm assuming that's still AA, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm assuming that's what that is. But he also maintained friendship with some of these friars. And that, so like he says at 6 p.m. every day, Luz, it's a much more gritty interview, 100%.
Yeah.
So, but he gets into just saying, look, we do this thing at 6 o'clock every day and we get on and we ask each other things like, how are you treating God's children today? Like, did you love all of God's children today? Like, accountability is so important, right? It's like, I don't care. We were talking about the Exodus 90 thing, right? And it's like, so much of Exodus 90 is accountability. When you make a mistake, you have to own up to it and you have to say something. It's like, that's our whole point in going to confession regularly. But if you have a group of men who are also Catholic and also striving to live this life, and every day you're having a meeting and saying, look, okay, here's where I lost my temper today. Here's where I mistreated someone today. Here's where I did this today. You're going to really live out your faith. And then if you do have a falling away incident, you're going to see a major drop off, and you're going to notice, wow, I have to go back to this.
Yeah, definitely. And it just seems like he's become much more connected with his family, his wife, and
his child went through something where there was a bump on his child's head, and they were going to get tests to see if everything was okay. And his wife was freaking out, and he just said to her, look, God loves us. No matter what happens here, God loves us. Like, don't worry. He loves us. No matter what happens here, God's going to use it to the good. Right. And it was like, God can take the worst thing in the world and he can bring good out of it. Right. Like he seemed like he does have a decent grasp on how the spiritual life works. I mean, look, I hate putting any hope in any kind of celebrity, anything. Right. But it's like, all you could do is pray for this guy. That's all you could do. And just pray that he keeps his faith. Max said he heard that the director directed some adult movies. Anyone else hear this? So look, I'm going to try and prep everyone for this. Do not expect this to be a great movie. Like, I think this movie is going to be less about Padre Pio and more about the political situation going on around him. And it's going to be about, if they're going to try and frame it in the eyes of MAGA versus whatever. That's just what I think. I mean, the director I saw an interview with the director, and he made it seem like fascism is on the rise again and put it in the context of the MAGA movement. And it's like, come on, like, really? It has nothing to do with fascism. Like, these people just don't even know. It's like, they don't even know what fascism is. Fascism is the uniting of government and corporations. Who is doing that more than the Democratic Party right now?
Not corporations in the way we think of it, though.
Right.
Not actual companies. More like industries.
Okay. You mean like big tech and the government uniting?
Well, I don't know if we want to get into political theory now.
I don't. I'm just saying. Tim says the trailer seemed politically oriented. Yeah, it did. So it's like, I think it's less about, look, let's hope the parts about Padre Pio are beautiful and, show the saint in the proper light, but don't lay all your hopes on it, right? Like, just look, if anybody converts out of this, that's a miracle in itself. Apparently Shia LaBeouf did. That's a miracle. And if somebody else is brought to it, even by some of these Shia interviews, if somebody opens their heart to the Catholic faith from it, that's amazing too. So anything else any other thoughts on that Real Ones interview?
No, it just it seems like he gets I don't. He gets it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, he seems like he understands suffering, and the merit that can come from it, which for an actor is incredibly rare.
I read a review that said it was bizarre and that Padre Pio character was like a cameo. That I don't know. I mean, isn't the movie called Padre Pio?
I don't know what they're calling it. Let me look.
Of you going to the TLM retreat with Father John Perricone in November. I haven't even heard about that retreat, Tom. If it's something I should know about, let me know.
Yeah, the film is called just Padre Pio.
So yeah, somebody had said that they missed Steve on the rundown. I gotta say, if you guys haven't watched News from the Pew, Steve and Rick Barrett and Fawaz and who's the other guy they usually have on?
John Arrington.
John Arrington. They do a phenomenal show. Like, and this week was just Steve and Rick, but they are one of my favorite shows on YouTube. Like I'm embarrassed to like I joke around and tell them I want to come on there. I don't think I could hold my weight on that show. Like they're too serious. They know their stuff too well. Like Rick is a professional broadcaster. Steve does all the intros to the thing. Like I joke around and say I want to go on there. I'd be nervous to go on there. These guys know this stuff. So if you have not seen News from the Pew, please guys check that out. It is one of the best shows on YouTube. Way better than our show.
So it does look like Abel Ferrara, who is the director of the Padre Pio movie, did begin his career by directing pornography.
Yeah.
But his I guess his grandfather was born near Pietrelcina, where Padre Pio is from. So he was pretty familiar with Padre Pio.
Tom, if you know where I can yeah, bring the info on Sunday, Tom. That works perfectly. So yeah, if you I'll be at Mass on Sunday at St. Matthew's. So just any info you can bring it to me because I would if it's like a day retreat, that'd be awesome. I'd love to go. All right, man. This was fun, right?
Yeah.
I had a good time. Kept it short to the point. We usually go on and on and on and on and on and on and on.
I'm surprised we've had about 20 viewers consistently on a Sunday afternoon.
On a Sunday afternoon, guys. That's pretty cool. I'm glad that people are starting to check this out. We'll see how this goes. We always like when you guys leave comments, hit like, subscribe, obviously, but leave comments on the video because I never know if you guys want us to do shows like this or just stick to the trivia show. Like I like riffing with Rob. I don't know how everybody else takes it. So
one thing we've come to realize as well is that shows like this tend to work much better as audio podcasts. Whereas the trivia show, I would imagine, is just miserable to listen to without being able to watch. It's
especially because so much of it is us laughing at comments that people leave, right? And it's like,
and of course, we never read the comments; we are just laughing at them. So I'm not gonna put the trivia show on our audio podcast any longer. It doesn't make sense. We only get so much airtime or runtime to upload for audio podcasts, and I don't want. I can't.
Yeah,
I can't
it's kind of a waste. They're getting so few views as the audio podcast. Where the last Shia conversation we had. So like, if you look at our analytics for the podcast, like the iTunes or whatever,
yeah,
it's like
I can actually throw them
it's
up.
a dead straight line, and then all of a sudden the Shia interview comes and it's like, whoop, shoots literally up to the sky. It's like we have like hundreds of views on, hundreds of listens on it.
If you're wondering if we're doing this episode on this subject just so we can put Shia in another title, you're absolutely right. We are definitely doing that.
Tom, I'm friends with Kiara also. That's my friend Don's wife. Kiara is a beautiful person. I love Kiara. So you know what? We should always mention Kiara's website. Don, if you type Kiara's website in the chat, I'll post it up because Kiara has like a prepping website for Catholic preppers. It's pretty good.
Huh.
Let's see.
That's
anything
interesting.
else before we go? I wish I hadn't missed the beginning. It's definitely worth going back and re-listening to a Francophone. Yeah, me too. She's a doll. She's much nicer than Don. Don's a jerk, but Kiara's good people.
What do we
right,
have?
anything else?
What
What do we got?
coming
Wednesday we have Jacob Tate. Jacob Tate
is going to actually host.
He's hosting trivia this week. I am competing, and I'm going to beat everyone.
Who did we try to? Oh, Darren. Darren might take over scorekeeping for me.
So you're going to play too. So I'm going to show everybody how much better at trivia I am than Rob. It's going to be Rob versus me, and we're going to have Darren keeping track. You're going to have Jake hosting, and then we'll probably have some of the usuals. I know Margot wants to play. Connor's going to come. Connor's going to play. Tim, how dare you? How dare you? Francophone says it's 11 p.m. in France, and you tuned in. That's awesome. We have a French viewer. That is amazing. So, all right, yeah, check us out Wednesday. Steve Cunningham, if you're done on baby duty and you wanna come and hang and play trivia Wednesday, you let me know, man. So, guys, thanks for hanging out. Please hit like, subscribe. What's the bet? What does the loser have to do? That's a good question. We should actually
have to have a mustache for a week.
I'll do that. I'll come in with a Hugo Boss wearing mustache.
Oh no.
Hugo Boss uniform wearing mustache. Thank you, Tom. This was
back
fun.
To the Yahtzees.
Appreciate that. It always comes back to Yahtzees. All right, man. Take us out, Rob.
Okay, have a good I guess have a good Sunday, everyone.
Oh, wait. I got Kiara's website. Wait.
Here.
Oh, no, never mind. Don, you're supposed to give me the website, your wife's website. He gave me the retreat that Tom was giving me.
Oh, come on, Don.
You're the worst.
Oh, wait,
that's
ever. Don's wife?
Yeah, so Tom was saying I should go to the retreat in November, and I thought Don was texting me his wife's website, and instead he texted me the retreat info.
Kiara is Don's wife.
All right, so Don said he put it in the comments. Let me see. Let me find it. Let me post that up. Oh, Brandon popped in. I didn't even see Brandon. What did he say? How much is Anthony paying Jake to let him win? I should get the answers ahead of time. Let's see.
They're going to be very. I would imagine they're going to be very TLM oriented.
I'm gonna be honest. I was gonna tell Jake, give me the questions ahead of time. I promise I'll answer everyone wrong, but I'll come up with funny answers. Like make them comedic, but always wrong. So I'll wind up -20, but every one of them will be funny. But I'm not cheating. I want to beat Rob.
I was gonna say if he comes hard with TLM questions and scripture questions, you probably will beat me.
Scripture questions, I'll smoke you.
Yes, absolutely.
I think anything to do with the liturgy, you'll probably beat me. But if he goes all Bible questions, I will hold my own in Bible trivia. But like you were an altar boy, like like the picks and all these, like all these
altar
little
boy
things.
In the Novus Ordo, though.
Yeah, but they're still all the same, like vessels, and like the names of the vessels are all the same and stuff. So, true. Don, I don't see where you posted your wife's website, so we should really get going. We're almost at an hour. We like to keep these under an hour. So,
okay, we're out of here.
All right, thanks, guys.
Okay.